Welcome to the Qualcomm podcast. From 5G and AI to XR and IoT, Qualcomm is creating the newest technologies to transform lives and industries across the globe. I'll be taking you behind the scenes with the inventors and experts bringing the technology to life, so you can hear all about the most exciting evolutions in tech, right from the source. I'm PJ, and thanks for listening. All right, everybody, welcome to what might be your favorite episode of the podcast. We're going to be talking about cameras and camera technology and all the devices you love. At the heart of it is the Spectra 480 ISP, the image signal processor, and we're going to talk about all the amazing technologies that are built into it. I got two amazing guests. So we brought in the superstar, the super tech reviewer, the super duper everything. You know him as SuperSaf. He is one of the biggest tech reviewers in the UK. Check out his YouTube page. You can find him on Twitter, everywhere. He's got some awesome stuff. He sees everything. And then we brought in the guy who is creating all of the amazing camera technology. We have Judd Heape. He's our Senior Director of Product Management for Camera Technologies here at Qualcomm. And I am so excited for the two of you to meet each other and for us to talk cameras. Guys, welcome to the Qualcomm podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Really excited.
Awesome. So first off, SuperSaf, what are some of the cameras and photography trends that you're seeing in the market these days that just really get you excited?
So for me, it's smartphone photography and videography is just something that somebody who came from my channel actually started off with DSLR cameras. A lot of people don't know this, but I started off reviewing cameras, and then smartphone cameras obviously over the years have gotten so good. Most people don't need another camera. They're just using what's on their smartphone. But I think the recent trend for me personally that has been, something that I've really enjoyed is, having multiple cameras on a smartphone and having something that can process all of that. A few years ago when Qualcomm announced that, you can have multiple cameras, on a smartphone and being able to get all of that together. For me, ultra wide cameras, absolutely love them. Zoom cameras, and it just gives you so much more variety and scope, which makes things really exciting for me. You don't have to carry around multiple lenses. You don't have to, keep switching or anything. A tap of a button and it's instant. You've got a completely different perspective, and for me, that's something that's been really quite important.
That's amazing. That's very cool. And hey, I share your love. I actually a long time ago used to review DSLR cameras as well, and and I remember the days of having to carry around multiple cameras in a bag around my arm, and we still do carry around multiple lenses. We just fit them in your pocket now.
Yeah,
and
totally.
Judd, and what about you? What are the things that you think when it comes to cameras? What direction are we going in, and what are the trends that you see?
Yeah, so like SuperSaf said, it's really all about how we can make mobile devices really approach what he started out with, the digital SLR. And the way we do that is not necessarily like you would do in a traditional camera where you're relying on really good optics and lenses and a huge image sensor. In mobile, we don't have those capabilities because, of course, it's got to fit in your pocket. It's got to be thin. And so typically the sensors are smaller, the lenses are smaller, and so we're really relying on computational photography to get to the level of quality that customers expect. And really, computational photography is doing things really even beyond what you can do with a traditional camera. Like, for example, what you guys mentioned, having multiple cameras on a smartphone at different fields of view, different purposes. Being able to smoothly move between those cameras without the user really knowing it's happening, using multiple cameras to do things like depth, to generate great looking portrait images, that sort of thing. It's all computational photography. So the way we're overcoming the limitations in the form factor is really to do a lot more deep processing in the ISP, or the image signal processor.
Judd, one of the things I love to do on the podcast is anytime like a big intimidating word is dropped, I like to have it defined. How would you define computational photography?
Yeah, it's sort of a term that started out in science and R&D, but really what it is, it's using artificial intelligence or software or hardware designs to actually augment and improve images that are coming in from the outside world. So computational photography really allows you to either modify the image. In the cases, it could be as simple as segmentation and adding the background blur effect for photographs, portrait photography, or it could be as advanced as doing face beautification or removing photo bombers from the back of your images, those sort of things. That's all computational photography. It's all done, in the artificial intelligence or hardware software domain.
Very cool. Yeah, I guess I guess it's fair to say that photography used to just be take an image. Computational photography, the final result is maybe just an image, but it's the result of all of these software techniques that you're talking
Exactly.
about.
Exactly right.
Awesome. So Judd, tell us about it. So basically, our big camera core that's inside of Snapdragon is the Spectra ISP.
Yeah.
And the latest flagship version of Spectra is the Spectra 480. You can
Right.
find that in device and that is inside of the Snapdragon 865. So if a device has a Snapdragon 865 in it, you've got bleeding edge camera technologies. Judd, can you tell us what's in the Spectra 480 and what kind of technologies are focused in it, and what do you do to achieve just better image quality in there?
Sure. Yeah, the ISP or image signal processor, the Spectra 480, has really been designed from the ground up, even 4 years ago, as a legacy to give you the best image quality possible. And it's kept up with the trends, in the industry. The image sensors have been improving every year. The optics are getting more and more complicated. I mentioned the triple camera aspect, so you can zoom smoothly between wide, ultra wide, and telephoto. The ISP, basically what it does is it reads in what we call a raw image from the image sensor at 60 frames per second or higher, and then it converts that into something that you and I can see, a typical RGB image that would be compatible with a display. And so a really good ISP is capable of doing that quickly, so that you don't miss any of the action, or you can use the speed to shoot slow-mo, so that you, for example, capture at 120, 240, or 480 frames per second and play back at 30. And the ISP does this with really, really low noise. So you don't want to, as you bring in the signal from the image sensor, you want to take care to make sure that you work with and capture all that dynamic range. But in the midst of your processing, you don't want to do things like add extra noise or compromise in low light or mess up the colors. So the Spectra ISP has really been designed to provide you the best looking images at the fastest speed with the lowest noise and most accuracy if possible.
That's awesome. And some of the I think, to your point, it seems like every year the goal is to, in my mind, I feel like there's almost like three goals. It's to improve the speed of this thing, just make it work even faster so it can capture even more information, even more photos. Improve the quality, to your point, like lower the amount of noise, improve the amount of colors it can captures.
Yeah.
And then just add custom amazing features on top of it and just say, okay, we've got this speed, we've got this quality, what can we do? And if you don't mind, I would like to rattle off just some of the features that it can do. And I think it starts with the fact that the Spectra 480 ISP is a breakthrough in speed. We can process 2 gigapixels per second. That's kind of, I know a lot of times people think about megapixels and gigapixels in terms of size, and we're talking about size per second. And that's so much faster than its predecessor. And that's what enables, I think one of our hero features is 8K video recording, which is video at 33 megapixels in every frame of video, which is just a massive leap. Over 4K, which is about 8 megapixels in every frame of video.
Yeah, exactly. And 8K at 30 frames per second was new on the Spectra 480. The 2 gigapixel per second mark that you mentioned is really the fact that the ISP can capture 64 megapixels at 30 frames per second for snapshot, which is just an incredible amount of throughput. We're able to capture images up to 200 megapixels total, which is also huge. There's no image sensor yet that can do that. We're at 108 megapixels today, but the Spectra ISP has you covered for up to 200 megapixels for the future. And the other things that we've talked about in the past, these huge videos and huge images, you got to be able to store them as well and not consume all of your memory. So the ISP is able to efficiently capture both video and still image files.
I just have a question because you mentioned a lot of these features that the ISP offers. Now, one of the things that I get asked a lot, from my followers, is that we have all of these devices powered by this ISP or similar technology, but not all of them offer all the features that you spoke about. Can you talk us a little bit about why that is?
Yeah, so basically the hardware platform is capable of this big superset of features, but some of our OEMs, our customers that make the smartphones, will choose one way or another to have certain features on their handsets, and they may make trade-offs in terms of cost, in terms of power consumption, in terms of what image sensors and optics they want to use, and in terms of features. So Qualcomm offers a lot of features that PJ and I both rattled off. There's also a lot of our third parties that offer really interesting features that are done with computational photography in software and utilize the GPU, the DSP, or the CPU, which we talked about last year as well when we introduced the Spectra 480. So it comes down to the OEM choice. They may want to design a phone that's really optimized for selfies, or a phone that's optimized for videography or video shooting, or they might want to design a phone that's really optimized for telephoto. So it depends on the trade-offs that they choose as to what features, both hardware or software, that they put in.
Excellent. Yeah. So you give them you give them all the options, and they can obviously customize it based on the experience that they want to sell to their customers directly. Yeah, totally makes sense.
Exactly right. And really, I mean, camera's a way they do that. And more than any other feature on a smartphone, camera is what influenced the buying decisions of end users. And so consequently, the OEMs that we work with, they really want to differentiate themselves on camera. That's why you see so many different configurations, so many different features, because it's the main way they differentiate.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things our partners do also is they look at Snapdragon, and everything that Judd has just talked about. That's everything that's built into the Spectra ISP. But Snapdragon is actually a whole platform that has other technologies in it as well. So like a GPU for graphics, the Hexagon processor, which also is for AI as well, and our CPU, and that all of those things together are a massive AI engine, and they can harness our AI engine and then add even more camera features. And I think our partners are really doing spectacular stuff. Like, for example, our partner Morpho just won their third year in a row a computer vision award for their semantic segmentation filter, and which is able to use our ISP to capture video, but then harness the AI engine and to actually identify objects within the image. So it's actually kind of a little bit, it understands exactly what it's seeing. It knows if it can identify a person's face, it can identify a tree in the background, and then it can, instead of making blanket adjustments across the entire video, like let's raise the brightness across the whole video, it can actually target each object and make these changes. And Judd, is this correct? Did I describe this accurately?
Yeah, you did. Yeah, actually, I mean, what Morpho's done is really slick, and I think That's the future. That's where computational photography, which we talked about in the beginning of the segment, is really headed. The camera is going to understand what more, you know, what the photographer's intent is, what the scene is, and like you said, morpho, they have it today running on Snapdragon, where they're using the Spectra ISP plus the AI engine. They're able to tell the difference between skin and background and hair, and optimize, you know, the clarity, the sharpness, the noise reduction, the color for each of those different pieces of the image, which is pretty incredible, actually.
It's amazing. And SuperSaf, I mean, what do you think of these technologies? How do you think they're going to impact the future of how people are capturing the world, and what we might see from people on, you know, social media and YouTube and their
Oh
cameras?
yeah. I mean, this is like right now, what I absolutely love about how far the technology has come right now is it enables anybody to become a content creator, right? Because we all have a smartphone, and you know, the creative output that we're seeing now, not only on YouTube, but you know, the likes of Instagram, TikTok, etc. You've got so many creators who now are, you know, just coming up with some really interesting stuff which you wouldn't even think about, and it's all being filmed on smartphones. You can shoot it on your smartphone. You can also edit it on your smartphone very quickly and easily, and then you can share it out straight away. And that process, just making that so simple, you know, being able to capture that high quality video from your smartphone right now. You know, we're talking 4K. We spoke a little bit about 8K as well, right? You know, professional cameras, there are very few out there that can actually film in 8K, and being able to do that on your smartphone, and then being able to crop in further, maybe zoom in, you know, just that sort of scope that you have and that flexibility is something that really gets me excited. And it gets me really excited about how people will now use these tools to create amazing content. I just recently worked with Qualcomm on a shot on Snapdragon series. So we've actually posted a lot of cool stuff on Qualcomm's page that I've gone out and taken, you know, whether that be low light, right, or slow motion. So there's a few different things that we've been working on. So yeah, definitely do head over onto Qualcomm's Instagram, and you can see, if you haven't already, you can see some of the shots that we've been taking recently, and it's been a lot of fun. It's been a really fun project to actually work on, because it actually shows you what you can do. And you know, for somebody like me, it's been quite exciting for me to be like, all right, today we're going to go shoot some landscapes. Today we're going to do some low light. How, you know, how can I show how we can utilize the slow motion in a fun way?
That's really cool. The exciting thing is that, you know, you can do all this really cool stuff with a camera that's in your pocket. I mean, it just a few years ago, you know, you would never even have thought that you could shoot, you know, 8K or even 4K, right? And we're able to do that now. Anybody can do it. Anybody has access pretty much to a smartphone and can do these great looking still images or videos, which is just amazing to me how far we've come in, you know, in just a few years.
Totally, totally. It's actually made me less special. I used to be the guy that can take really great. I
You're the
used to
one
be the
lugging
guy
around the
that
big
knew how to
camera.
take great photos with the DSLR, and now
Yep.
everyone can do it. I'm no longer, yeah.
Anybody can be PJ.
Exactly.
Hey, but that's the beauty of it. I think, you know, when it comes to technology, for me, somebody who reviews tech and speaks to people all the time, the best technology, you know, one of the things that we always use it in the YouTube space is a magician's greatest trick is making it look easy, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things with smartphone photography and videography is how easy it is now for somebody just to take it out of their pocket and not have to concentrate about, all right, what am I going to have to do here? No, just go ahead and start creating, and not even realizing what an ISP is. And
Yep.
I think that's where you really, I mean, that's the greatest trick, that everything is made to look so easy for the front end user. And that's something that, yeah, I think it's very powerful.
Totally. Love
Totally.
the analogy. That's great.
Totally. And, you know, this whole conversation has been about, you know, just making everyone, giving everybody the tools to just become an amazing photographer very easily with the smartphones in their pocket. But Judd, a lot of these technologies you work on don't just end up in smartphones.
Yeah, that's right. Snapdragon pretty much goes everywhere. I mean, and more, Qualcomm's really targeting other markets outside of mobile. It's really, part of the strategy, and that could be PCs, always connected PCs, what we call IoT or Internet of Things devices, like even surveillance cameras or sports cameras. Even in automotive, cameras are hugely used, and Snapdragon is headed into those markets as well. So the PC is one really interesting. We're all right now, because of the situation we're in with COVID-19, we're all using our PCs and our third-party webcams and or cameras that we attach, and I think what this negative thing that's really happened to all of us, I think it's going to really help drive and improve the camera quality in the PC market. I think we'll all be seeing PCs come out in the future with a lot more advanced cameras and a lot better technology for handling things like video processing, or even what we would call video-based computational photography, even on web calls, for the blurred background or background replacement, or even doing really cool stuff like, if your camera is above your screen and if you're talking to someone, it looks like you're looking below them or off to the side, or that sort of thing, correcting your gaze angle, that sort of thing. These are all things that we're working on to make the PC webcam or video call experience a lot more seamless and a lot higher quality.
So all this technology that's just loaded into your phone, into the Spectra ISP, is just enabling new experiences in every device. Camera is the key to it seems like everything. It's awesome. Well, Judd, we thank you for every year putting out a new Spectra ISP that's jam-packed with new features, faster, better, more experiences, totally crazy. SuperSaf, we thank you for getting all these devices, reviewing them, making amazing videos, and showing off what you can actually do with these technologies. Everyone, to check out more of SuperSaf, go to his where should people go, SuperSaf?
Oh, you can go. I'm pretty much everywhere. Just search for SuperSaf and you'll find me.
Totally. And everyone should check out, if everyone goes to the Qualcomm Snapdragon YouTube page and checks out Tech Summit from 2019, they could see Judd's presentation, a real deep dive into the Spectra 480, and you could see even more features. It's awesome. You can go there, check it out. And I want to thank both of you for joining.
Thanks, PJ.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to the Qualcomm podcast. If you haven't already subscribed, you can do so via SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcast, or Google Podcast. And by the way, our friends at Legal really want you to know that SuperSaf's participation was sponsored by Qualcomm Technologies Incorporated, and that references to Qualcomm may be Qualcomm Incorporated, Qualcomm Technologies Inc., and/or its subsidiaries. Qualcomm Snapdragon is a product of Qualcomm Technologies Incorporated. Until next time.